Hi, my name is Joani Blank. I live in Oakland, California, and one of my important life missions is creating sex education and sex information opportunities for adults. In the early part of the 1970s, I was working as a sex counselor in a sex counseling program at the University of California, San Francisco, working primarily with pre-orgasmic women, that is, women who had never experienced orgasm. And after I did that for a while, I decided it would be really important for there to be a really great source for women to acquire sex toys and vibrators and other sex toys, as well as books and films and videos to help them improve their sex lives.
Joani started her publishing company, Down There Press, even before she started Good Vibrations. It was founded in 1975. And the very first thing that she published was a guide to vibrators that she wrote herself and that she had calligraphied. So it was a very 1970s kind of a volume. Shortly thereafter, though, she published Anal Pleasure and Health, subsequently publishing Women's Erotica and many other kinds of self-help art and erotic books. And she cared very deeply about the role of books and the fact that they were a sex education medium that most people had access to. She really is one of the unsung heroes and revolutionaries as far as written access to sex information goes. Long before the internet, small publishers were exploding with sex books. Certainly by the 1990s this was the case, partly because Good Vibrations and other increasingly independent bookstores and women-run sex shops were there to sell them to customers. And there are many more books in print about sex now than there were 20 years ago, and many, many more than were in print when Joani started Good Vibrations in 1977.
I'm told that I'm a pioneer, and I guess it's true because Good Vibrations was the first store of its kind in the country. There was a pretty well-known mail-order company that sold sex toys primarily to women, but Good Vibrations was the first retail store that did so. For many years at the beginning, we always had a woman working in the store, either myself or somebody else, another woman. So there was not a man behind the counter, which helped a lot of women feel more comfortable coming in there. The products we were selling, the product selection was not quite as important as the kind of attitude we put forth about them. We were tapping into a need that was already coming forth in people's minds for women to actually learn more about their sexuality, not depend on a man to tell them about it. And a lot of acceptance of variations in terms of what arouses a woman. It's not the same for everybody. What the role of fantasy in their sex lives, and how okay it is for them, given their upbringing and stuff, to take some initiative around sex, or to ask for something to be different, or to just talk about sex, period, to use the words, and be told that it's really okay for them to get what they want around sex and to learn how to ask for it. So that was a big piece of it. Also, just basic understanding about sexual functioning and how arousal and orgasm work and that sort of thing, because there are many, many women who feel that something's wrong with them if they don't have orgasms with intercourse. And in fact, the numbers it's unclear, and perhaps it's better than it used to be, but something like somewhere between half and 2/3 of women do not either ever or only very rarely have orgasms with intercourse alone without direct clitoral stimulation at the same time. And yet, so it's certainly within the realm of normal that that's true for a lot of women. I care about this a lot because I believe that many, many people could have happier sex lives than they're having now. And that in many, many cases, all that's needed is a little information, that they get some information and that their partners get some information, rather than going into therapy for years to find out what's wrong. That often just knowing a lot of stuff, like normalizing some things that people think that women perhaps think it's abnormal for them to have a certain response or for them to want certain kinds of stimulation, as soon as they find out that that's very normal, sometimes that makes their sex lives better all by itself.
The other thing that I remember about Joani is that she so cared about what people learned. She so cared about education, she cared about information, she cared about the culture of sexuality. I think, although I was already on my way to get a PhD in sexology when she found me, it wasn't that she gave me the idea that these things are significant. She so reinforced that for me. It's very much because of Joani and the place that she created that I still work in this environment now. I've been here for over 20 years. I would never have stayed that long in a different store.
Who I am, which has a lot to do with the way I did business and my attitude toward business. I grew up with a very negative attitude towards business. I just assumed that most people were in business to make money, and that seemed like not a good thing. So here I am finding myself in business, and I just wasn't able to run a business in a conventional way, which was, only choose products that will sell well and mark them up as much as you can get away with. And I kind of spread the notion that, although of course we need to make enough money to keep the business going, my energy behind this business was not to make a lot of money, but to do the right thing, which to me, without trying to sound pompous or distant or like I know what's right and you don't, which I certainly didn't mean to imply, but it felt like the right thing to do to give out this information and make these products available freely and at the lowest cost possible so that people would have access to them. I just can't imagine running a business any other way.